from clarkwoods.com. This is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 97. I am Chris.
And I am Steve, and
This is our... Go ahead.
8th attempt.
8th?
I am
9th?
a breakfast cereal.
You are a breakfast cereal. I might be a breakfast cereal too. I don't know which one of us was doing it, but we were Rice Krispieing up the joint.
Yes.
And hopefully we're not now, and hopefully we don't as the show progresses.
Are you a cereal eater, Chris?
Am I a cereal eater? I do eat every day.
No, I mean cereal as in a box of cereal.
Box of cereal. As it turns out...
Not like Cereal, the podcast.
No, I don't eat that anymore either.
I wish I had a piano next to me. Like, ding, ding, ding.
I have not eaten cereal, that cereal, since Adnan Syed.
Gross.
Did
you go visit him in prison?
I should go visit him in prison. No, I'm not a cereal eater. There's a box of cereal, in fact, that got,
a box of cereal
that got sent home with my mom from her friend's house. I think they'd accidentally bought the wrong kind of cereal. It was Special K Chocolatey Delight.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that, but my kids don't want to eat it. My wife doesn't want to eat it, and I'm not a cereal eater. I was the one who said, "Oh yeah, one of us will eat it," and it just sits there.
Has it even been opened?
Hasn't been opened.
Bring it over next time.
Next time I will bring it to you.
I will eat Chocolatey Crunch Special K.
Chocolatey.
So I'm eating chocolate instead of. If you notice the cereal I have up on the.
Ooh, it's the Lucky Charms, eh?
Well, no, the other one, the other chocolate cereal there.
Oh, Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, that's the cereal I've been eating lately.
Are you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. Cocoa Puffs always seemed a little weak to me.
See, we got the 3-pack over there as well that has the Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs, and Trix.
Yes.
And I guess because I'm an adult now, I feel that I don't like Trix anymore, or maybe it's because it's just not good.
Trix are for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're a sophisticated adult.
Yes.
You've got a different palate now.
I thought Trix were for Johns.
Do those taste the same?
What?
So much in those first 8 attempts is now lost to history, or not lost to history because I still have it, but it's crackly.
Yeah, well, we could have the Crackle Cast.
The Crackle Cast that'll be in the archives. No, but I was saying that when we first started that we need to try not to make need to not say anything controversial because it's Monday night. Now there's a third reason. It's Monday night. We've just tried 8 times to record this, and also I don't have a computer at home to do any editing.
So yeah, you don't want to be editing anything. So it's great that in the crackly part that we edited out earlier,
yes,
there was that crazy anti-Semitic rant that you had.
Yes, there's always one of those.
So then,
I mean,
always. So that is thankfully gone, so we don't have to worry about that.
That's always the longest part of my job in any episode is editing out my own anti-Semitic rants. I can't believe I'm admitting this on the air.
Yeah, he's not an anti-Semite, folks. We're just making humor jokes for your
jokey humor jokes
for your knee slapping pleasure.
For your knee slapping, ear grinding.
What is that? When someone rubs their vagina
on
their labia on your ear?
Whatever floats your boat.
That's ear grinding, as far as I can tell.
They call that a canoe, right?
What, an ear?
No. The lady parts. There's a lady part that's thought of as a canoe, right? There's a little man in a canoe.
Oh, because of the clitoris.
Yeah. So whatever floats your boat.
I'm way closer than I normally am to you, but I don't want to touch the microphone and move back to where I normally am.
But you sound great.
Thanks.
You sound fantastic. Do you ever? I mean, floats your boat. Do you think that's where that came from?
What?
It's like the little man in the canoe, and they say whatever floats your boat because it's a sexual thing. No,
I think it's because whatever gets your boat into the water, and I think it's more of a literal.
That's what she said.
It's more of a literal thing. It's like whatever gets
whatever gets your dick hard.
Yeah, that you could just say that.
Yeah. So my computer is. My computer's really slow, or it's something about my computer is really slow, and it would happen a lot during podcast editing. It would happen when I had too many apps open, it seemed, or something. I don't know. I was trying to narrow it down. So
did you download the Extra Chromosome app? You can't edit that out.
No, I can't. I don't have time. And I don't have a computer. If I were going to edit that out, I would have to edit it out here. That's the thing. So my computer, you know what Activity Monitor is on a Mac? You ever opened Activity Monitor on purpose?
Is that like a control? Well, no. When you Control Alt Delete on a PC and look at the
not exactly. Well, I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time.
see
since
what
I used
programs
it.
are running.
It's a long time since I was slumming it on Windows.
Okay, well,
but
the control. No, it's not Control Panel. It's the
Control Alt Delete will bring up I don't know what that's called.
It basically will bring up like options so you can look at like what is running and
Right.
what is taking up the most amount of CPUs. I don't know. Is that a thing?
I think CPUs are a thing. I think you've got one or two in your computer there.
Ed Norton.
No, so the Activity Monitor is a separate app on the Mac. The closest thing to Control Alt Delete on a Mac is Command Option Escape, which lets you quit out of certain apps. But there's this thing, Activity Monitor. Activity Monitor.
Oculus Rift.
Activity Monitor, and I opened up Activity Monitor, and I would stare at it while trying to do work. And look at the RAM, because RAM's a thing that you have in your computer.
Is that next to the CPU?
No, it's next to the sheep. It's trying to push it off the edge of the clip.
Wake up, sheeple. Look into your computer and look at all the sheep in it.
Yeah. No, so you have RAM. That's the thing that you have.
I get it. RAM now.
RAM.
Like a ram like the animal, not a ram like the thing.
Yes, and not like ROM, the Space Knight. You have RAM in your computer. And I had a bunch of RAM. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, as it turns out. 16 gigabytes.
Is that a lot of RAM?
That's Doc Brown would say 16 gigabytes. In that voice.
No, he would say gigabytes.
Gigabytes.
Which is kind of racist.
A little bit. So I have
1.21 gigabytes.
Jesus Christ. Poor old Doc. Nobody ever edited out Doc's racist rants.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean he did.
Well, the thing is,
he went back in the DeLorean. He slapped himself.
It was a different time. It was the 1950s.
1950s. I got a story about the 1950s.
In fact, they actually used that term in the first Back to the Future movie.
Mm. Oh, that's right.
Like when
the zipperheads.
When
that's a term.
The zipperhead is a racist term too.
Is that
for Asians?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Jesus. I can't edit that out either.
Yeah, I know. So
I thought that
Jigaboos is staying and Zipperheads is staying.
I thought that Zipperhead. I thought that was was what one of the kids in Biff's gang was called. That's why I was.
No. He was like 3D, and that was like.
Yeah. No, not that was his name, but that one of them was called. What do you? I thought
that was Back to the Future 2.
Okay, I don't know.
Unless you've got power.
He made a great Bruce Lee later on in life.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, so like Marty's stuck in the trunk of the car.
Yes.
Because Biff's guys like throw him in there.
Peckerwood. Why did I get Zipperhead out of Peckerwood?
I have no idea.
What are you looking at, Peckerwood? That's what he says back.
Yeah. So he's trying to get the car open.
Yes.
What's his Marvin Barry. He's trying to get the car trunk open to let Marty out, and then he cuts his hand and can't play the guitar, so Marty's got to go up on stage,
right?
Et cetera. You know what happens, but the Biff's guys call them Jigaboos.
Yes, which does not go over well for Biff's guys.
No, they have to run because Yeah.
So I have 16 gigabytes of RAM in my computer.
1.21.
1.21. 16.
Don't say it again.
And
it was a funny joke once.
I looked at the activity.
It probably wasn't even actually that funny once. No. You left.
The activity monitor and my RAM didn't seem to be spiking. Wasn't doing any Buffy the Vampire Slayer spiking or otherwise.
Have you watched Buffy at all?
No.
So don't try.
No, just don't invoke. So that wasn't the cause. I'd look at the CPU. The CPU is a thing that you have in your computer. And I have a relatively.
I just said that.
I have a relatively fast CPU. I have what they call an i7. I think an i7 CPU.
Is that a good CPU?
I think so. It's a couple years old, but nothing was happening too much on the CPU. So after a lot of staring at activity monitor instead of doing work, I flipped over to another tab, which was the hard disk. You got a hard disk in your computers, most of your computers.
Is it wicked hard, dude?
It's wicked hard, dude. And that hard disk, as it turned out, was the thing that was going all wonky when I tried to do too many different things at once, including editing multi-gigabyte podcast files and having Twitter open
Gigabyte.
and having Safari. I don't know that this is that what I have sent my computer away for is actually going to solve anything, but I have it on good authority that upgrading your hard drive to a flash drive with no moving parts will actually speed up part of your computer.
So having
processing.
a stick, a flash drive stick, will make things go faster.
No, flash drive inside the computer. So having flash-based memory instead of a spinning disk hard drive.
Like flash animation?
No.
Look at my horse. My horse is amazing. Give it a lick. Look that one up, kids.
So anyway, my computer is away. I sent my computer away this morning. I sent my old computer, which we used to record the podcast on, I sent that out to be recycled the other day because it finally was just like not doing
Finally bit the shed, as it were.
Yes. And so no computer for me at the Clark house. Technically, there's my dad's computer, but I do not.
He's busy.
He's a busy man.
Putting what is he?
He looks at golf
statistics. But do you think he looks at the pornography?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think he kind of just gave up on it after a while?
I think you just.
Because he had an epic amount of pornography.
You get to a certain age, Steve. You get to a certain age
where you don't really have the urge to.
Don't have the urge anymore.
To look at pornography or have an erection anymore.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. Happened a lot in the 50s.
Really?
I hear. No, there's a section in this book that I'm reading. Spoilers. There's called 11/22/63. This is a book I've been reading a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's based in the 60s. Chris.
It starts in 1958.
Chris.
Steve. 1958. You go down the steps of the diner. Of the diners, like who's it?
I guess in the miniseries, it started in the 60s.
It doesn't start in 1958.
I thought it was 1960. So he has 3 years to do something.
So they're fucking things up. I have friends who loved the book, who when the series started on Hulu were just like, fuck that noise. They watched the first episode and they're like, no, that's not how it works.
No!
They care a lot. Faith No More?
We care a lot because of Transformers, because they're more than meets the eye.
We care a lot. So in 11/22/63 in the book, there's a man. There's a man.
Oh, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
There's a man who ain't getting down with his wife because he kind of doesn't. He thinks it's all dirty like. He does occasionally get erections, and I gather that she gives him the odd hand job or two.
Odd hand job.
The odd hand job. It's a little odd. And that he puts a broom down the center of their bed, and if she rolls over her side of the bed, rolls over the broom and touches him, he wakes right up. Like if she even like comes close to going over the broom that divides their bed in half.
Well, I imagine. Well, the thing is, like they
just don't like the sex.
They talk about that was addressed in. Well, certain things were addressed in the miniseries, but they didn't go into quite like Stephen King like epic details about sexual dysfunction, like every novel that he's ever written. Like, have you ever read Needful Things?
I have not read Needful.
I've read that when I was like.
I think I saw the movie.
Yeah, well, the movie is a lot different. Like
Ed Rue's house.
What? Yes, I was there.
Were you there? Did we see that together?
We might have.
We might have been over at Ed's.
So I saw that. But I read the book, and like, there's a lot of like weird, crazy, kinky shit in that book.
Yeah.
That maybe a 15 or 16-year-old
shouldn't.
Well, the thing is, like, but like, if you put it in perspective, like a 15 or 16-year-old young man nowadays probably has seen like the most disgusting sexual perversions that have ever existed,
especially if
like in the span of an afternoon.
90s.
Well, because the pornography that your father had in the 90s or whatever, like, was nowhere near any of the shit that's on the internet today.
No.
Like
Not that I would know.
the golden years. Golden
The
years.
that sounds like a bad pornographic film.
Gross. It's like On Golden Pond, the pornographic version.
Oh, on Golden Pond with the man in your canoe.
Little man.
Little man in the canoe on Golden Pond. Ooh.
Have we gotten to anything that's on the list?
Yes, we've gotten to a couple things. The computer and 11/22/63.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing nothing but reading, Steve. I don't understand it. I'm doing nothing but reading, and I'm enjoying myself, and I don't like it.
Are you seriously that much of a masochist? That
I halfway through the day on Sunday, I'm sitting there. My wife and kids went out. They had something to do, and I'm just sitting.
What did they do?
They had they go to Baha'i children's classes.
Oh yes, we had mentioned that before.
Yes, so they go there. On
look
Sunday
look it up yourself. We're not putting it in the
show notes this week.
Yeah, sorry, no show notes. You're just getting the podcast.
You're just getting the show. Yeah, so they were at the last day of children's classes for the year until they pick up again in the fall. They went to an indoor playground. They were supposed to go to an outdoor playground, but it was raining. But
it was pretty wet yesterday.
It was pretty wet.
Some might stay. Some might stay. Some might stay and listen to us a little bit longer, and they might hear me say moist in a second. Some might say moist.
Some might stay moist.
Some might stay moist. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Title. But so okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm reading, and it gets to be about noontime, and I'm like, I've just been reading all day. Don't I have shit to do? And so I open up the to-do list manager I keep on my phone, and I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. Nope, I don't need to do that. No, I don't need to do that. I can just keep reading. What the hell? I can just keep reading. I can just keep doing something fun. Is this how people live?
What, like enjoying themselves?
Like
having
on the
fun?
weekends, is this what people do?
Yeah, we usually just, if we got nothing going on, we'll just watch shows or occasionally if we're having guests over, we'll do a little tidy up like we did today.
Yeah. How do you?
I was tidying up while you were in the ripping up mail while you were sitting there.
If looks could be translated. I was just gonna keep going. I was gonna let everyone out there imagine that you'd.
Well, I mean,
the rest of the apartment looks fine.
Yeah, we never have the place untidy, so really.
So yeah, so that was I spent a part of the day on Saturday too. It's a thick fucking book, and I'm a slow reader, but I'm about halfway through. And yeah, there's a lot of sorry for that half belch there. There's a lot of good stuff in it, and there's stuff in it that would be its own short story if I were writing it. It would just I would write that as a short story and be done with it. And now I'm seeing, oh, this is what a novel is. There's a bunch of little
I mean, in your best spoiler-free way, where in the book are you?
So in the book, it is.
It tasted like cucumbers.
It's nearing the end of the school year in 1962, and the protagonist has it's called 11/22/63. I think you should know from the title and from your history class that it would have something to do with the Kennedy assassination. So all I'll say is that it's end of the school year 1962, and the character is now had something bad happen romantically and is fully invested again in trying to investigate what's going on with Lee Harvey Oswald.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point in the book. So
I've got to ask you. You watched the miniseries, right?
Yes.
Does the miniseries cover? Does it seem like it's a whole story? Does it cover the whole? I mean, you haven't read the book. So
yeah. But it seems like the whole story.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that's what's great about having something like that. Like, I mean, as bad as it is, the Stand miniseries is better than a Stand movie would be.
I absolutely agree.
Which we talked about before. It might actually exist in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Stephen King's novels, like just scream miniseries or something along the lines of like, what if an HBO or a Showtime picked it up and just decided to, like, I forget.
They did a
friends of mine were there was like a book series of his that like they were reading in the 90s, and I
the
forget
Dark Tower.
Yeah,
was his book
that's the
series.
one.
And they are going to finally make a movie out of that. They're working on one with Idris Elba. I might be mispronouncing one or both of his names as the titular gunslinger. And titular, that's a fun word. And
I'm not even going to comment on it.
They also they did, and my parents were really into this. They did a TV series that ran for a couple of seasons called Under the Dome, based on one of his books. So I think miniseries or like a TV series.
Well, like television is the new like back in the day, like TV stars used to movie stars used to avoid doing television.
Right.
Like it was like the kiss of death. It's like, you're not a movie star anymore.
Nope.
Because you just did a television role.
But hold the door. It's
come on, dude.
Hold the door. It's a whole new world.
Yeah, it is a whole new world, and because of HBO or Showtime, and in some places like Netflix or Hulu or whatever, like when you give people creative control and just say, hey, make something that people are going to like or AMC, with Breaking Bad or Saul or Walking Dead but I'm kind of sick of Walking Dead at this point.
I haven't watched The Walking Dead. I've had it on my Netflix list for years. I started watching, in terms of AMC, my first AMC show that I've started watching from the get-go is Preacher, which is based on a comic book.
And we see ads for that when we've been watching the Fear of the Walking Dead, which I'm not going to give any spoilers if anybody is ever planning on watching it, but I wouldn't actually recommend doing so.
Okay.
It's just... At least with these zombie apocalypse shows, I just get mad at all the bad decisions that are constantly being made.
Yeah. I can see that.
I'm like, if I was in this situation and I ran into a stranger and I'm like, I'm not going to trust this person, and I'm probably going to immediately kill them.
Yeah. I
like
think
that. That's the way my brain is going to work as far as like zombie apocalypse. If I run into a zombie, I'm going to kill it. Right. Preferably, with a knife, so I don't attract more zombies.
Right.
And if some dipshit comes over and is like, "Oh, we're friendly, and I swear we're gonna be friends, and I'll give you hugs and back rubs," I'm like, "Nope, fuck off! Please die.
Please.
If you're not somebody that I knew prior to when shit went down,
you better,
no, sorry,
stay the fuck away." You mentioned giving control to creative people. That's one of the things I think I really dig about Preacher. It's 2 episodes in. And when I first heard who was going to do it, it was Seth Rogen and Evan. Hey, Seth, how are you?
Fuck you, no.
And I think, is it Evan Goldberg is his partner? At any rate, everyone who had read the book back in the day was kind of like, unless they really liked Seth Rogen, was a little bit nervous. But what I'm watching the show is realizing how attuned to Seth Rogen's kind of sense of humor. Like, the show is violent, and it's got that going for it, but it also has some of like the most outlandish violence or violent humor that you could imagine, including a scene, spoilers this week, where there's a vampire in the show. I guess that's not important. But there's a guy in the show.
That's not important. There's vampires.
No, there's a vampire.
Just one.
Is
it Alucard?
It is not Alucard.
Time, monster. Your kind doesn't belong in this world. It's not by my hands that I'm once again given flesh. I was brought here by humans who wish to pay me tribute. Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves. The same could be said of all religions.
Do I have to finish?
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you. What is a man? I'm not going to smash a glass. A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you. All right, I'm done.
How many drinks do I have to have?
That was not One Piece.
That wasn't One Piece.
No. And that me just saying it wasn't One Piece doesn't count.
At any rate, so there's 2 guys involved in a scuffle in this church, as you would imagine, because it's a show called Preacher. And the vampire guy.
Oh, I don't necessarily would imagine that like all the fighting would happen in churches.
Well, the fighting in this episode happens at a church, and the vampire guy grabs the guy who's wielding a chainsaw and bends his arm back so that he saws his own arm off, the guy with the chainsaw. But then, this is the part that fits with Seth Rogen's kind of absurd sense of humor. The arm with the chainsaw, because the chainsaw kind of is moving of its own volition, drags the arm with it and starts heading towards the protagonist of the show. And, the vampire only at the last minute notices, oh shit, my pal, the preacher over there, is about to get killed. Why
is the preacher a pal with the vampire?
They got into a bar fight in the first episode together, and they're kind of pals now.
Oh, neat.
It's a weird fucking show, and it was a weird fucking comic book, and I was glad to see that the weirdness stuck around. I don't know if it will succeed for anybody other than kind of hardcore fans of the book. I gather it didn't get great ratings, but it's inventive, and I think it's pretty cool.
Well, did that one? Or actually, we've seen the previews for it, and it hasn't seemed bad. But I'll give it a season before I actually start it. Maybe
it might even be one of those that's better. Once you've got a season of it on Netflix or something, and you can kind of just go through it. I think it might even be meant to play that way, despite the fact that it's on AMC.
Well, they should have just done it that way. Like certain shows, like I think in other countries, like the first season of Better Call Saul came out immediately, all on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And well, I think actually after it all aired. Here in the States, it just came out in one fell swoop.
Yeah, didn't make them wait,
or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that model, although I'm not a binge watcher because I can't stand to have that much fun in a row.
I just don't get it.
I'm getting better. I mean, I spent like most of a weekend reading a book.
We're gonna work on you, Chris. You're a work in progress. Maybe by episode 100, you'll learn to have some fun. I want to have some fun.
Girls just want to have fun. Did you know that was originally meant for a dude to sing?
Really?
Yeah, I forget which dude, but it was originally written with a male singer in mind.
Yeah, well, Weird Al did this parody. Girls just want to have lunch.
Was Captain Lou Albano in that one?
No.
Sad.
But he was in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
He was. I mean, he was Cyndi Lauper's dad, I think.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and he was Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, but did you watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
Yes. Well,
and
I mean,
do you remember at the end? I kind of
tried to sneak a peek because it was John's thing.
What Super Mario Brothers was John's thing?
Yeah. Which is probably why I never beat one
until like 2009.
Well, I beat a few in the living room with the porno, but oh wait,
gross. But like they did at the end of every show, they had him doing the Mario.
Oh, that's right. How could you forget?
And if you want, you could.
Mario.
I want you sing it.
I don't know any of the rest of it.
He was like, "Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go do the Mario." And it was. See, that was like back when there was a show where it was just like they had like the cartoon portion and the live action portion.
Right.
I don't remember a second of any episode of either the cartoon or the fucking live action portion. Like those things were just such like just bad television, that so much so that it because like there's plenty of shit that I watched at that age that I still remember.
Right.
And like, there's like, Simpsons has been in syndication for a very long time, but there's like Simpsons episodes from around the same time, maybe, that I'll know like by heart by the episode. And so it just shows you how something that is great television
ingrains itself in your brain.
Yeah. And something that is garbage, like immediate, like, the song is great. And that's the only thing I fucking remember.
See, what I remember about it is this vague notion that do you ever see the X-Men, the 1980s, not the 90s cartoon, but the 1980s X-Men where
not
Wolverine,
not that one, okay.
But the one where Wolverine is an Australian guy. It's called and Kitty Pryde is in it. I don't remember much else except it came out on
Wolverine's
video.
Canadian.
So he's Australian in this one. He's got an Australian accent.
Oh,
Anyway, so
was it Mel Gibson?
it was not Mel Gibson.
Speaking of anti-Semitic rants,
So this show would come on, I think, I don't know if it was played in the package with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or whatever, but like every like few months of like syndicated Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or Hulk or whatever, you would see that show instead, and it would be awesome. And you'd be like, when's the next one coming? And it never came because they only made one of them. And my recollection about the Super Mario Brothers show is that there was there like one episode of a Zelda like
yeah, on Fridays they would have The Legend of Zelda instead of Super Mario Brothers for the cartoon.
And my feeling on that, and maybe this is a wrong recollection, is that there was like one episode of like the good show, and they only ever played that like once in a while.
Oh, they did it every Friday, and I do remember the little thing because there was a little dynamic with Link and Zelda, where he kept on saying, "Well, excuse me, princess."
Oh, I remember that now. Actually, I think I remember it from you guys imitating it.
Yeah, I could, but like that's the only thing I remember. It's like, oh, the
Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah.
No, close.
And then there was also Captain N, the Game Master.
Was that the good one?
No.
No, that was not the good
that was on Saturday mornings, I think, on NBC, and it was
okay.
basically this regular guy gets sucked into the video game world and becomes Captain N, the Game Master.
You know about getting sucked into the video game world. You ever play Captain Power? Do you remember Captain Power?
No.
Okay, so Captain Power was this thing that was mine. Although maybe John had one or two of them, and it was used. Did they use infrared? I don't know how the fuck they did it.
Was it like a VCR game?
It was a VCR, but they also had a TV show, and the TV show actually had like a decent. It was probably dumb. If I watched it today, it would be probably wretched. But it had a decent arc, including a strong female character, as I recall. But I think she dies somewhere in the middle, and that was one of the poignant episodes. But it had a toy that would emit like infrared or whatever and hit the thing on the TV, and sometimes the thing on the TV would blast it back, and yeah, your thing would rumble, or I don't know what it was.
Your thing.
I mean,
well, when you were like when the powerful female protagonist was on the screen,
no, my thing was rumbling.
Your thing was rumbling, and you were like, "Why is this happening?
This is an early
I'm
crush.
just a young boy.
I'm just a young boy. This is a crush. I had a few of those.
Besides the girl in Captain Power, who else?
I like early ones.
Yeah.
Like I think I remember liking Dana Plato
From
Different Strokes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for different folks.
I don't know. Those were like really early ones. That's a good. How about you?
I was I think I was a big fan of Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell.
I could never decide between Kelly and Jesse. I mean, Jesse was too tall for me. That was obvious.
Well,
but,
yeah, being a short person.
But Kelly was too pretty for me. And I guess I was.
What about Lisa Turtle?
I guess I was.
I guess you're just
racist at that point, and Lisa did not occur to me.
Well, Screech obviously wasn't.
No.
And apparently he's packing.
We have talked about Screech and his porno tape more times
than need to be talked about ever. But
I think, oh my goodness, so the girl, the rich girl. Well, I guess they were all kind of rich on.
You're
on
a rich girl.
On Facts of Life. Although I kind of like Joe too. Which one? Not.
You like the tomboy and you like the rich girl.
I like the rich guy. I like them both. I could go either way.
You wanna have a little sandwich. I get you.
I don't know that you asked me that question, and like I should have a more profound answer in terms of like a TV crush, but I don't. Oh,
you figured it out.
I figured it out. Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck.
Oh, not in Back to the Future?
No,
because she was his mom in that movie.
Oh, Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck. And I remember for the longest time wanting to see Howard the Duck again because
you wanted to see her have sex with a duck.
Yeah, because I imagine myself as a duck.
Howard the Duck.
Ah! I gotta go fucking find that song. Yeah, I don't know.
Straight to my heart.
So I told you what I did with my weekend. I told you what I did with my weekend. You want to tell me what you did with your weekend? Was it anywhere near as exciting as sitting and reading a Stephen King book for 48 hours?
Well, we did our bi-yearly trip to Portland. Biannual, yeah. There you go. Thanks.
Oh, wait. Is that
that's
like fucking
is that every 2 years, or is that every twice a year?
Bi-weekly, and I think that bi-weekly and bi-monthly get fucked up in that way too.
Okay, so every
twice a year.
Every half a year.
Twice a year is better.
We go to Portland, but this we had a goal this time. Well, actually, we had a goal last time. It was Becky's birthday, but we had a different goal this time, and it was to see Bill Burr up there. He was performing at the Civic Arena.
Your buddy.
Yeah, my buddy Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
We're pals because
we go way back.
Because we go way back in the fact that we both do podcasts and have been doing them for multiple years.
And sometimes you come out on Monday morning.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come out on Monday evening.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
And sometimes you don't. Okay, so we did the things that we normally do when we go up there. We go to the barcade and we drink. We drink and we kind of lose the evening because I had a Falcon Punch.
A Falcon Punch. That's not the same thing as a Donkey Punch.
No, it's well. If you look at like the internet and look up Falcon Punch, I'm sure there's people that have done some crazy shit.
Falcon Punched.
Falcon Punch is a thing from Captain Falcon of Smash Brothers fame.
Oh.
And F-Zero, of course, which was the original game on Super Nintendo. And then, Smash Brothers was like, hey, let's have lots of Nintendo characters fight each other. And Captain Falcon was one of them, and he goes, Falcon Punch!
Oh, and that's a drink now.
Yeah, it's a drink at this bar. There's also the Jiggly Punch, which is admittedly tastier, but goes down a lot easier.
And so you drink too many of them? Is that why you
I was drinking beer, but like Becky kept on coming over with hers. We'd be playing pinball game, and she'd be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta do this, hold this. And me holding a drink. I think this is just
you can't resist?
No, it's just I don't know. I'm remembering sort of an evening like this that happened in college where people would have me hold their drink and realize that was an immediate mistake because then most of their drink would be gone when they got back.
Now, Becky hasn't realized this yet.
Well, she does now. I don't think I drank considerable amounts of her drink when she was gone, but I did have a sip or two while I'm drinking my beers. And so, the evening was sort of a little fuzzy at the end. There's an Instagram of me just kind of playing Treasure Cruise with one hand and eating a slice of pepperoni pizza with the other. Because we ate when we got there, which was like a late lunch. And so we're like, well, we need to eat something before we go to bed because we don't want to be completely fucked hungover, which I kind of was anyways, despite my
your
pepperoni
valiant efforts to the contrary,
eating greasy pizza or whatnot, and so I was still hungover the next day, and we went to Marcy's, which we have talked about previously on the phone.
We did. I think we've talked about that a couple times.
Well, once because we went there the first time we went to Portland, and once again because there was a news story regarding it where like there was a family with an annoying kid and the I think it was the owner, if not one of the staff members that was just like, just shut up, you stupid kid, and get them out of here. I forget like the exact quotes, but listen to all our episodes again to figure out which one that was.
You should.
It was actually probably about a year ago, a little bit over a year, or a little bit less than a year ago, that we actually talked about this. But yeah, it was like they're I think they're monopolizing on the bad press. I did air quotes. And they have like little T-shirts and bumper stickers that say "I got yelled at Marcy's Diner." But the trick is, like, we were there, and I was just like a hungover grumble, and I wasn't like like nasty or anything, but it was just like I was just like droopy dog, like going in there, and they were very nice and they were very sweet, like you are as a person that owns a restaurant when
Right.
people are nice to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, hey, guess what? The feeling is a sort of reciprocal,
Yeah.
right?
When you're nice, you get nice back.
I got pancakes with bananas and chocolate chips. Oh,
Yummy.
and they were so good, but I could only eat like if you go to this place and you want
Marcy's, right?
yeah, if you want to go to Marcy, if you're going to Marcy's and you're getting pancakes, get one.
One pancake.
Get one pancake
Okay.
cuz it's fucking enormous.
Just one Mossy.
Yeah, just get one because I got two because like there was like the option of one or two, one, two, or three.
Yeah.
I don't know what fucking obscene idiot would ever try to eat four of these.
Oh.
But I got two, and I was starving too,
Mm-hmm.
and I only ate half of them. I was like, ah, and like I was leaving, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, I could only eat half. She's like, well, you want to take it home? I'm like, no, we don't have like a microwave or anything to really put it in because we were staying at the hotel, and she's just like, it's all right, and she patted me on the head.
Aww.
She was very nice.
Very, very nice. See, they're nice when people are nice.
Yeah, if you're not an annoying kid that's screaming at the top of his lungs.
You know?
Or a bad parent that's annoying
letting
everybody in the rather small restaurant be annoyed the entire time.
Fucking parents.
Hey, we already had this discussion, and you said you probably would have done what I would have done, which is to taking the one kid that is being a pain out of the restaurant,
right?
Where the one child that is doing not that gets to eat a fun treat and not have to go outside.
Yeah, because I don't think my kids are the center of the damn universe. I mean, they may be the center of my universe, but I realize my universe is not everyone's universe.
Well, that's very, very, very nice of you, Chris.
Oh, well, thank you.
Appreciate that.
I try not to be one of those asshole parents.
So we spent another most of the afternoon sort of napping and whatnot. No donkey dishwasher this time.
Oh.
Hold on. Donkey dishwasher.
Makes me moist all over again.
Gross. And we got up and I got some Gatorade and I got a Milky Way and I had enough energy to get to the show, and we met some folks from I think slightly northern Maine. They were like from 45 minutes out of Portland.
Yeah.
So not like terribly far away, but like not close either. And we chatted them up before the show. They were pretty fun, and they
not down east.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how. Like, I think that's.
Were they from Castle Rock?
Do 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 do. Oh, isn't that the?
Doom, doom, da da doom, doom, da da doom, doom.
Stop it.
Doom. Oh, that's in Oregon in the movie.
Is it?
It's strange. Yeah, they set it in Oregon instead of Maine because they were filming in Oregon. I think is the reason why.
Oh, okay. So the I got harassed about getting a dog for a while, which we still don't have.
Yeah, I know. There's no pooch.
There's no pooch. There's a pooch like next door.
Yeah.
But not in here.
They'd be sniffing each other's butts.
Yeah. But yeah,
Out in the hallway.
we like, I'm gonna say this eventually.
Uh-oh.
We will eventually get a dog, just not now.
You're laying that down right here on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna go on the record.
Right out there in public.
I don't think Becky would be very happy if we had a house and didn't have a dog.
Yeah.
So,
my kids are upset that we don't have a dog.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm not a dog person. I'm not an animal person. But I respect people who are.
Well, the thing is, if you get a dog, you are going to be the one that takes care of that dog.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like you're saying that you don't want it, but if you do eventually get talked into it, you're going to be the one that loves that dog the most.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I don't want it, because I don't think I can handle the inevitable end of the dog. That is. Aside from allergies, so Stephanie has definite cat allergies and maybe just general pet dander allergies.
Well, if you get a cockapoo or some sort of
something like that's not
something that's bred with a poodle, which has hair and not fur.
Yeah, but so that's part of it, is dealing with the realities of allergies. Another part of it is that we're living upstairs from my folks, and we'd have to get their blessing and sign off. And our living space is not that big for us plus a dog. And then the final thing is
we could just build another cage and have the dog jump really high.
I know. I didn't want that dog either.
Well, John did.
I know. But when my parents were like, "We're gonna get a dog," when we got that dog, Max,
let's not get him fixed and have him run all over the neighborhood and fuck every dog that he could possibly find.
I said I don't want a dog, and they allowed that, and the dog belonged to my brother and my parents, and it was not my dog.
Not my dog, not my problem.
Not my dog. I got 99 problems, but the dog ain't one.
Well, you never know, Chris. You might just fall in love with some pooch now down the line.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Name her Beyonce.
Yes. So we met these folks, and they were them and Becky were tag teaming me about getting a dog, and
yeah. Oh.
And of course
it's never good to be tag teamed. Unless you're the Heart Foundation.
The opening comic was, of course, talking about how he just got a dog, and it's just like the funny thing is like when we sat down in our
planning against you.
When we sat down in our seats, like the seats were really tight together, and like it's understandable that they'd be close together, like next to each other, because they're the kind that hook into each other.
Okay, yep.
So they're just like like a folding chair that hooks into another.
And that's how the
chair.
whole row stands.
But the thing is, like they had them so tight, like that you couldn't even like at a movie theater, like say, hey, I'm gonna get up, and then like the people next to you just kind of have to like get up slightly to let you by. People had to get out of the row. Everybody had to leave the row
tight,
for people
like, to the row in front. So not a lot of leg room.
There was just enough. Like if you were in an airplane that was that close, you would never fly this airline again.
Yeah. Like LeBron James in there would be.
But I don't understand like why they needed to put him that close. I mean, like there was a lot of people at the show, and like he is a big draw in New England because he's a New England guy and whatever, and he's fucking funny. So it's understandable that he like almost filled up that arena, but they didn't need to have the fucking like floor seats to be that close together.
Yeah.
They could have allowed people to fucking get by. Right. And it wasn't just, it was everybody. Like nobody that was trying to get out of the seat could get by somebody that was sitting down or standing up for that matter.
Yeah. Traffic problem.
Yeah. Oh God.
So Bill Burr was good.
Yeah, he was great. He was fucking fantastic. But there was a lot of times where like, cause he, he's the kind of person that will talk about crazy, like, like us occasionally will talk about something that isn't necessarily, politically correct or whatever. Oh. And he fucking does
We're
it.
Always PC. What are you talking about?
Okay. Well, like Bill Burr is considerably less PC than we are. And he just, he fucking kills it every time.
And that's why you love him.
Yeah.
He kills things.
Yes.
I mean, shows.
He murders things.
He murders audiences.
Except for his dog. He loves his dog.
Oh, maybe he should murder his dog.
No.
What kind of dog is it? Did he say what kind of
dog?
It's
a pit bull.
Oh, maybe he should.
Well, his dog is crazy.
I'm just kidding.
His dog is crazy, and like only him and his wife are really comfortable around the dog, and I think that's and vice versa.
Like a rescue dog? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So like they have guests over, they have to put the dog in another room because the dog will go nuts and whatever.
Yeah. As I recall, I mean, I have plenty.
But they're the kind of people that are aware of such behavior, and they're not gonna like be like, oh, whatever, my dog's crazy and I have guests over. I'll just leave the dog out and let it bite somebody and then cause a problem. Just put the dog away and then,
Was it pit bulls that were originally trained in like Victorian times to like watch over babies? Like they're I think I don't know if it's pit bulls or Rottweilers or like one of those dogs that now has gotten a really bad name out there in the world because of how people have treated them or mistreated them. I remember seeing like these cute 19th century pictures of like a tough looking like 20th century dog. We wouldn't want any 21st century dog. We wouldn't want.
Was it wearing like a Shakespeare little thing around his neck?
Yes. I think that's Elizabethan or Jacobean times.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck I don't know history.
Yeah, you know.
I think but the things that I've said,
Elizabethan dog.
the things that I've said over the course of the show about history
Mm.
proves that I don't know goddamn anything about history.
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, but
Not Jacobean. What the fuck am I?
I don't know what the fuck dogs.
Elizabethan would be the callers. I don't know what comes after.
Okay, so like the show is great. The I'm not gonna go into his material because that would just be that would be blatant
rip off.
Blatant rip off of his
buy
stuff.
His album.
Yeah,
or his special or something.
Well, his special will probably be on Netflix coming. I think he's finally getting it tight now.
Yeah.
Because his special came out last year, I think, and that's usually when a comedian that's worth his salt will flush the stuff that they just
flush his salt down the.
No, will flush the material that they just broadcast down the toilet and say, okay, this is done. Like, because they want to give, like, if they're the kind of comedian that cares about their audience, they're going to like write new shit every time they do a special because they want to be out there and like do new shit and get people to be like, wow, that was great and that was totally different. I'm sure there's comedians out there that still do the same set that they did in the 1980s, but
yeah. Well, so here's a question for you: when they're building those new bits? Hold on. When they're building those new bits, do you, as somebody who's more of a student of comedy than I am, or listener to comedy, or however you want to phrase it, do they sometimes, even though they don't recycle the material, they recycle the type of bit? Like, everyone get ready to drink. Like, when I listen to a Patton Oswalt special, like, I love him, but then I'll hear, having listened to a bunch of them now, I'll hear bits that feel like, oh, that's Patton's bit about weight loss this time. Like, oh, that's Patton's bit about religion. Like,
all right, think about it from a storytelling perspective. Like, if you have like a 3-act play,
right,
you're gonna have like you're gonna be setting things up in the first act. You're gonna be establishing tension and maybe get into some sort of climax in the second act, and then tying up all the loose ends.
Climax in the first act, and it's not
that's
fun.
a little bit early there, but but then tying up the loose ends in the last act or something like that. And that a lot of stories don't really kind of stray too far away from that sort of formula. You may have the climax in different places, like you had said, but things are going to be
depends on how tight I've tied the loose ends.
But I think comedians can be similar in that vein, where they have a writing style or the structure of their set is going to be similar each time. But the punchlines are going to be different, the jokes are going to be different, but it's going to have the same feeling, which is why you kind of like that person in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was just one of those things that I keep meaning to listen to some other comedians' multiple specials and see if I notice the same pattern. And it's not like he repeats every single bit or every single he has like 10 specific kinds of bits, and you can fit everything into those categories. It's just like there's always a weight loss bit and there's always a religion bit, and that's just the way it is.
And that's just the way the news goes.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
So okay, on the way back.
I made an illusion.
You made an illusion. You made an illusion. No, an allusion to it earlier, and we. So on the way back, we had made it through the toll on the main turnpike.
Okay.
So this is where I thought we were going to kind of run into some traffic. Mm-hmm. We ran into traffic after the toll. And I was just like, why is this happening? And so we're just driving down the road and it's slow going. And then there's these people and these people drive me up a wall. When everybody in every lane is going the approximate same speed, but there's always one of the 3 or 4 lanes that's going to be going slightly faster. They need to get in that lane and go in that lane because I'm the most important person in the world. I need to be going faster than everybody else here. Oh, that lane's going faster. That's my lane. I need to be in this lane. And I was fucking losing my mind.
And by going fast, you mean like going faster by like a mile an hour?
I wouldn't even say that.
Okay, yeah.
Just
So they're the one that's like the nose of their car is just forward.
and they're just like, but the thing is, like, things like that are fucking making the traffic worse.
Yes.
Because if you're weaving in and out of lanes, like even if it's at a slow rate of speed,
Right.
the people behind you are going to have to either slow down or stop.
Right.
So everybody that's out there listening, and I'm hoping it's millions of people now, just kill yourselves. Because I don't want you on the road anymore, and I'm stealing Bill Burr's bit now, because he's like,
great minds think alike.
yes, but it's just like let me just stop doing shit like that.
Yeah,
and employers, for the love of God, let your employees work from home if you have the possibility of doing so. Stop being such fucking assholes that you need to make sure that your employees are working 100% of the time they're at work. Hey, guess what? If you give people something to do and they get it done, it doesn't matter where they get it done as long as it gets fucking done.
Or if they're in their pajamas.
If they're naked from the waist down on a conference call, I just hope that they never get up.
Only way to do it.
Yeah.
Only way to do it. You ever been in a conference call half naked?
No. Have you?
It's not quite time for the show notes. I was just gonna say
we're not gonna have.
I mean the plugs. There aren't gonna be any show notes.
Well, we never talked about
movies.
Movies.
But
so we're gonna have to wait till next.
We did kind of talk about movies and TV shows and whatnot at the beginning. So
do we have enough time to have this conversation?
I mean, we have like 3 minutes.
We have 4 minutes now. We'll have to wait again for next week.
Yeah, you know.
But we do have an email.
That can happen.
Yes.
We have.
Stop it.
It sounded like Arnold for a second there.
Yeah, that was the point.
Stop it. This email comes to us from our friend of the show, Brian. Subject, Eating Crow.
Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Dear Chris, you were right.
Oh, look at that. First time, long time.
Dear Chris, you were right. I was wrong. I promise never to treat Leo's decade-old drunken rants as fact again. This is, of course, referring to a previous episode or previous episodes where there was a big bone of contention about what Bono is saying at the beginning of
Vertigo is the name of the song.
Vertigo. And
I remember that now because we've talked about it so fucking much.
My contention was uno, dos, tres, catorce, and everyone wanted to argue with me, but
it is in fact what he said, and he said it because he was drunk.
He was drunk. Brian follows up that by saying, and I'll give a second thumbs up to Fables as being better than as a better Once Upon a Time. Which means
he's probably had to endure an episode or two of Once Upon a Time.
Yes, I endured.
So for that, Brian, we are very sorry.
I endured one the other night. So
is it also a guilty pleasure for you?
No, it's not. Friday night. My family's been tradition since I was a kid. We go to Zesties, which is the one.
That's where I was gonna go for lunch, but then I just was like, I'll go someplace else.
It's one of the town favorites where we grew up. So Friday night's always Zesties night, and since we moved back into my folks' house, it's been this big chess game of trying to see, is there something we are all willing to watch? And on last Friday night, I did not feel like arguing, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be a good husband and a good son, and I know that my mom and my wife have been waiting to watch like the last 6 episodes or so of Once Upon a Time. They've been sitting in the
6
like the DVR. I said, why don't we put on an episode of that? And Kaylee, who used to love it and is now scared by it, was like, and I'll just go watch something elsewhere. And Melody was like, I'll just go watch something elsewhere. So Didn't accomplish the let's all watch it together, but I sat there and I held my wife's hand and I sat there. We were all cute on the couch and I was just like, this show fucking sucks.
It's not good. But I understand it being a guilty pleasure. Like it's just hokey enough.
Oh my god, it's hokey.
It's bad, but like I can understand it.
Fables is a fucking great comic book.
Have they adapted it to some?
No. I don't imagine that they will, because Once Upon a Time is such a big thing. I think it would have to be after Once Upon a Time's been off the air for a while. Maybe it's got an adult tinge to it at times. Not a really adult tinge, but it was published by Vertigo, which was DC Comics.
Hello. A little comic book company called Vertigo.
This is the part where I would say you can find the show notes for this episode at clarkwoods.com/hot/97, but I'm not doing any show notes because I have to do the entire episode here on Becky's computer in about 10 minutes.
Cool.
And then go home.
You could make the show notes later.
I could make the show notes later. Maybe I'll add them. So maybe by
you don't have to. I think
you're listening to this.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, then you probably know what we're talking about.
Know what we're talking
and you know how to look things up on the internet.
Yeah, you know.
Like Amazing Horse.
The show notes are fun to do.
I know.
But normally I do them on a computer where
I like reading them.
Where I have a one window open for the show notes, and I have a browser, and then over here.
I don't know, that causes a lot of CPUs to happen.
A lot of CPUs. CPU? No.
CUP.
CUP. No. There's no CUPs in your computer.
You can find Chris on Twitter at CC. At ECC1977.
You can find Tuesday is Loser at Steve. No, you can find Steve at Tuesday is Loser on Twitter. That's Tuesday is Loser, all one word.
Or you could email us at hot@clockwoods.com.
Not Clockwood.
Clockwoods. Clockwoods, dude.
Clockwoods, dude.
hot@clarkwoods.com.
Kid, you got to get that straight there, brother.
I did. Go there and send us an email. Talk about all your favorite parts of the show. If there's something you want us to talk about,
yes,
that we might forget to talk about, but we will eventually do it if it's something that we feel needs to be talked about.
For reals.
We might tease it for a month before we actually do, but we will eventually get to your email.
Or longer. I think there's technically still one out there from Brian that.
God. We will get to that one eventually.
We will.
Maybe sometime in the winter.
Maybe. Until then.
I'm Steve.
I'm Chris.
Don't drive like my brother.
What?